the only 7 isometric exercises to strengthen your entire lower body after 50. There is a very common saying among doctors that death begins with the legs, and it's not without reason. When leg strength disappears, instability and falls come with it, followed by fear of leaving home, loss of autonomy, and even the beginning of accelerated physical decline. And if you do nothing, unfortunately, this is the only path, whether sooner or later. And look, there's no excuse after all. You won't need a gym, weights, or machines. Just maintain these postures for a few seconds to deeply activate muscles, improve balance, and strengthen joints, all without impact, without pain, and without having to leave home. Before we begin, tell me in the comments your name and how long you've been training. Exercise number 1, wall sit. The wall sit, also known as wall squat, is one of the most effective isometric exercises for legs, especially for those over 50 years old. This posture originated in athletic conditioning practices, but gained popularity in physiotherapy and rehabilitation for its ability to strengthen leg muscles without impact on joints. This exercise intensely works the quadriceps, which are essential for climbing stairs, getting up from chairs, and maintaining stability when walking. Additionally, it activates the glutes, which are essential for posture and preventing lower back pain, a common problem after 50 years of age. The isometric work in this exercise also strengthens the knee stabilizing muscles, reducing the risk of joint injuries that become more frequent with age. To execute it correctly, position yourself with your back against a sturdy wall. Place your feet about 24 inches from the wall, keeping them shoulder width apart. Slide your back down until your knees form an angle close to 90 degrees, as if sitting in an invisible chair. Keep your thighs parallel to the floor and your knees aligned with your ankles, never exceeding the line of your toes. For beginners over 50 years old, I recommend starting by maintaining the position for just 10 to 15 seconds, performing 3 sets with a 30-second interval between them. Over time, you can progress by gradually increasing the time to 30, 45, and up to 60 seconds per set. The ideal frequency is 3 to 4 times per week. To intensify the exercise, you can raise your arms in front, parallel to the floor, which increases the demand on leg muscles. Another option is to hold a small ball or pillow between your knees and squeeze lightly, further activating the adductor muscles of the inner thigh. A common mistake is letting the knees project too far forward, which increases pressure on the joint. Another frequent error is leaning the trunk forward, which transfers the work from the quadriceps to the back, reducing the effectiveness of the exercise. Always keep your back straight against the wall and your gaze forward. This exercise is contraindicated for people with uncontrolled high blood pressure, as it can transiently elevate blood pressure during execution. It should also be avoided or adapted by those with a recent history of knee injuries, especially advanced osteoarthritis. In these cases, consult your doctor before starting the practice. Number 2, Viparita Karani. Viparita Karani, or legs on wall posture, is a position originating from yoga that has extraordinary benefits for circulation and leg strengthening, especially after 50 years of age. This isometric position combines muscle strengthening with deep circulatory benefits, making it a complete exercise for the health of mature legs. The main benefit of this posture lies in the inversion of blood flow, which helps reduce swelling and fatigue in the legs, a common problem among people over 50 years old. Additionally, it works isometrically on the posterior chain muscles, such as calves and hamstrings, while promoting a gentle stretch. The constant pressure against the wall creates resistance that strengthens these muscles without overloading the joints. To execute Viparita Karani correctly, lie on your back close to a wall. Bring your glutes as close as possible to the wall and carefully raise your legs and rest them against the wall, forming a 90-degree angle with your torso. Keep your arms relaxed at your sides, with palms facing up. Your spine should be completely supported on the floor and your neck relaxed. For people over 50 years old starting this exercise, I recommend maintaining the posture for 3 to 5 minutes initially, preferably before sleeping. Over time, you can increase to 10 to 15 minutes. Ideally, practice daily, as besides muscle benefits, it helps with sleep quality, another aspect that frequently deteriorates with age. To intensify the benefits, you can perform small flexions and extensions of the ankles during the posture, which further activates the calf muscles and improves venous return. Another variation is to slightly separate the legs, forming a V on the wall, which also works the adductor and abductor muscles of the thighs. A common mistake is arching the lumbar region, creating a space between your back and the floor. This reduces benefits and can cause discomfort. To correct this, slightly contract the abdomen and press the lower back against the floor. Another frequent error is forcing the legs to remain completely straight if you feel discomfort in the hamstrings. In this case, move a bit away from the wall to allow a slight bend in the knees. This posture is contraindicated during acute sciatic crises or herniated discs. It should also be avoided by people with uncontrolled hypertension, glaucoma, or retina problems. Those with a history of thrombosis or other serious circulatory problems should consult a doctor before practicing. Number 3. Horse stance. The horse stance, known in Eastern culture as kibadachi or horseman's posture, is an ancient isometric exercise originating from Japanese and Chinese martial arts. This posture was developed to strengthen the legs of warriors who needed stability during combat. For people over 50 years old, this position offers a deep workout for the thigh, glute, and core muscles, without impact on the joints. The main benefit of this exercise lies in the simultaneous strengthening of the adductor, abductor, and quadriceps muscles, creating a muscular balance fundamental for preventing falls in the elderly. The posture also intensely works the lateral knee stabilizers, muscles frequently neglected in traditional exercises, but essential for stability when walking on irregular terrain. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with long-term health in the bodybuilding world. To execute the horse stance correctly, stand with your feet wider than shoulder width, approximately double that distance. Rotate your feet slightly outward, at an angle of about 45 degrees. Bend your knees and lower until your thighs are parallel to the floor, as if riding a horse. Keep your trunk erect, spine neutral, and arms relaxed at your sides or extended in front as a counterweight. For beginners over 50 years old, I recommend starting by maintaining the position for 10 to 20 seconds, performing 3 sets with intervals of 30 to 45 seconds between them. Over time, gradually increase the time to 30, 45, and up to 60 seconds per set. The ideal frequency is 3 times per week, alternating with other exercises in this program. To intensify, you can add small pulses, lowering and raising 1 to 2 inches without leaving the isometric position. Another effective progression is to extend the arms forward, parallel to the ground, increasing the demand on the core and legs. A common mistake is arching the back or leaning the trunk forward, which can overload the lower back region. Another frequent error is allowing the knees to collapse inward, which increases the risk of knee injuries. Always keep the knees aligned with the feet and the trunk erect. This exercise is contraindicated for people with a history of serious knee injuries, especially in the menisci. It should also be adapted or avoided by those with severe osteoarthritis in the knees or hips. For those with balance problems, it is recommended to initially perform with support, such as a chair or nearby wall. Number 4. Isometric calf raise. The isometric calf raise is a fundamental exercise for strengthening what many specialists call the body's second heart. The calf plays a crucial role in pumping blood back to the heart, working against gravity. For people over 50 years old, strengthening this musculature is not just an aesthetic matter, but one of circulatory health and stability when walking. This exercise intensely works the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, which make up the calf. Strengthening these structures significantly improves balance, reduces the risk of falls, and prevents common circulatory problems after the fifth decade of life, such as varicose veins and edema. Additionally, strong calves are essential for daily activities like climbing stairs and walking longer distances without fatigue. To correctly execute the isometric calf raise, position yourself on the edge of a step or elevated surface, supporting only the front half of your feet with your heels suspended in the air. Hold on to something stable to maintain balance, like a handrail or wall. Raise your heels as much as possible, standing on the tips of your toes, and maintain this isometric position. Your knees should be slightly flexed to reduce pressure on the joint. For adults over 50 years old, I recommend starting by maintaining the elevated position for 10 to 15 seconds, performing 3 sets with a 30-second interval between them. As the calf is predominantly composed of slow-twitch fibers, it responds better to longer series, progressively increasing to 20, 30, and up to 45 seconds per set. The ideal frequency is 3 to 4 times per week. To intensify the exercise, you can perform on just one leg at a time, which doubles the load on the working limb. Another effective progression is to vary the position of the feet, parallel to work the entire calf, turned slightly outward to emphasize the inner portion, and turned slightly inward for the outer portion. A common mistake is performing the exercise on a flat surface, which limits the range of motion and significantly reduces the benefits. Elevation on a step allows the heel to drop below the level of the toes, providing greater stretch and muscle contraction. Another frequent error is distributing weight unevenly between the feet, overloading one side and creating muscle imbalances. This exercise is contraindicated for people with acute Achilles tendonitis or a recent history of rupture of this tendon. It should also be performed with caution by those with severe balance problems. In these cases, it is essential to have secure support and, if necessary, assistance from another person in the first sessions. Number 5. Isometric glute bridge. The isometric glute bridge is a powerful exercise that strengthens the largest muscle in the human body, the gluteus maximus. After 50 years of age, loss of muscle mass in this region can lead to postural problems, lower back pain, and instability when walking. This exercise not only strengthens the glutes, but also the core and hamstring muscles, creating a solid foundation for all everyday movements. The benefits of this exercise are multiple. It stabilizes the pelvis, reducing the incidence of lower back pain, strengthens the posterior chain, essential for upright posture, improves neuromuscular connection with the glutes, muscles that many people have difficulty activating correctly, and strengthens the musculature that supports the hip joint, preventing falls and injuries. To execute the isometric glute bridge correctly, lie on your back with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Your arms should be extended at your sides, palms down. Contract your glutes and raise your hips until forming a straight line from your chest to your knees. The secret is to maintain this elevated position without letting your hips drop. For people over 50 years old starting this exercise, I recommend maintaining the isometric position for 15 to 20 seconds, performing 3 sets with a 30-second interval between them. As you evolve, you can increase the time to 30, 45, and up to 60 seconds per set. The ideal frequency is 2 to 3 times per week, allowing adequate recovery. To intensify, you can extend one leg while maintaining the hip elevated, which significantly increases the demand on the glute of the supporting leg. Another effective progression is to raise the arms, positioning them extended above the chest, which challenges balance and increases core work. A common mistake is excessively arching the lower back, which transfers tension from the glutes to the spine, potentially causing discomfort. To avoid this, keep the abdomen slightly contracted throughout the exercise. Another frequent error is raising the hip too high, beyond the knee line, which also overloads the lower back region instead of working the glutes. This exercise is contraindicated for people with acute disc hernias or spondylolisthesis. It should also be performed with caution by those with uncontrolled hypertension, as the position may transiently elevate blood pressure. In case of lower back pain during execution, stop immediately and consult a physiotherapist for adaptations. Number 6. Free isometric squat. The free isometric squat differs from the wall squat by not using support, requiring greater balance and body control. For people over 50 years old, this exercise offers a deep workout not only for leg muscles, but also for the stabilizers that are fundamental for preventing falls and maintaining autonomy in daily movements. This exercise intensely works the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings simultaneously, creating an essential muscular balance for healthy locomotion. Additionally, it deeply activates the core muscles and ankle and knee stabilizers, improving proprioception that frequently deteriorates with advancing age. To execute it correctly, position your feet shoulder-width apart, with toes pointing slightly outward. Keep your spine neutral, chest lifted, and gaze forward. Bend your knees and lower as if sitting in an invisible chair until your thighs are parallel to the floor or as close to it as is comfortable for your joints. Extend your arms forward for counterbalance and maintain the position. For beginners over 50 years old, I recommend starting by maintaining the position for just 10 to 15 seconds, performing 3 sets with a 45-second interval between them. Over time, You can progress by increasing the time to 20, 30, and up to 45 seconds. The ideal frequency is 2 to 3 times per week, allowing adequate recovery of the musculature. A common mistake is allowing the knees to project too far in front of the toes, increasing pressure on this joint. Another frequent error is letting the trunk fall forward or the heels lift from the floor. Always keep the weight distributed evenly between the front and back of the feet, and the trunk as erect as possible. To intensify the exercise without adding weight, you can position your feet closer together, which increases the demand on the quadriceps, or hold a pillow or ball between your knees and squeeze lightly, further activating the adductors. Another challenging variation is to keep your arms extended above your head during the isometry. This exercise is contraindicated for people with a recent history of serious knee injuries or advanced osteoarthritis in this joint. It should also be adapted or avoided by those with severe balance problems without proper supervision. If you feel joint pain during execution, stop and consult a healthcare professional. Number 7. Static lunge. The static lunge, also known as isometric split squat, is an exceptional exercise for people over 50 years old because it works the legs unilaterally, correcting common muscle imbalances that accentuate with age. This isometric posture has roots in military and athletic conditioning practices, but has been adapted to meet the specific needs of a more mature population. The greatest benefit of this exercise lies in the individualized work of each leg, which allows identifying and correcting asymmetries that can lead to postural and joint problems. Additionally, it intensely works the quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and adductors, improving stability when walking, climbing stairs, and performing rotational movements of daily life, such as getting in and out of a car. To execute the static lunge correctly, stand and take a step forward, as if starting to walk. The front leg should have the knee bent at a 90-degree angle, directly over the ankle. The back leg should also be bent, with the knee close to the floor without touching it. Keep your trunk erect, core engaged, and gaze forward. This is the isometric position you will maintain. For people over 50 years old starting this exercise, I recommend maintaining the position for 10 to 15 seconds for each leg, performing 2 to 3 sets with a 30-second interval between them. Over time, gradually increase to 20, 30, and up to 45 seconds per set. The ideal frequency is 2 to 3 times per week, alternating legs. To intensify the exercise without adding weight, you can increase the distance between your feet, which requires greater stability and strength. Another effective progression is to raise your arms above your head, increasing core work and challenging balance. A common mistake is allowing the front knee to exceed the line of the toes, increasing pressure on this joint. Another frequent error is leaning the trunk forward, which transfers tension from the legs to the lower spine. Always maintain an erect posture and keep the front knee aligned with the ankle. This exercise is contraindicated for people with a history of serious knee injuries, especially when affecting the patellofemoral joint. It should also be avoided or adapted by those with advanced osteoarthritis in the hips or knees. For those with balance problems, I recommend initially performing near a wall or chair for support if necessary. If you enjoyed this and want to discover 6 other isometric postures that can strengthen not only your legs, but your entire body, we've left a video appearing right now on screen showing each of them better. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.